Hi, this is Bernie, your Uber elder. Taking a break here from driving folks around. I'm in San Jose, and I was listening to reports about Pope Francis's summit on child abuse by priests and the cover-up by bishops. And I read a transcript that was published of his words. And I must say, I'm very disappointed. I had great hopes when this Argentinian priest came to the Vatican. He came with humility. He accepted that he was not going to judge gays for their choices. And I was really excited when he blamed capitalism for climate change, which he acknowledged was a huge problem. So it made me feel that there was a revolution happening within the Vatican, and I looked forward to more of that happening. And of course, this priests abusing children process has been going on, for well over 20 years. And it seems like the Pope finally got around to dealing with it, acknowledging it. There were already some signs that there wasn't a real sincere effort at dealing with it, given that he set the date into the future. Well, the summit on this subject of child abuse was held. Give him credit for that. But what happened there is, and as I read his speech, is that he framed the problem as a global problem. In all parts of our human society, the abuse of children is an evil. He talked about it being tools of the devil, and how we must all self-analyze. Remind me of self-reporting, what's the word Mitt Romney used? Deportation, and very little focus on the church. He did say, well, however, when it happens with a trusted priest in the church, it's especially vile. But he framed it as it's a problem in our society, when it is, and he's right there. But people have been pointing out that within the church, it's a different problem, because it isn't dealt with by the secular authorities, because the church is not transparent. The church wants to deal with it on its own, and it's been shuffling bishops around and really not acknowledging the crimes, the evil that has been committed. And here was a wonderful opportunity to come out and say, for example, we will have a zero tolerance policy. Any priest credibly accused will be relieved of his duties. We will make it public. We'll involve the government, the prosecutors within the civil jurisdiction who deal with such matters, and we're going to not deal with it anymore, and we're not going to cover it up anymore. And since then, of course, he's seen an archbishop get indicted. He still hasn't really changed from what the church has always been trying to do, is protect itself. And I come to see that as any CEO of an organization, there's an element of self-preservation. And, within this hierarchy, I ask you the question, is it that he, as the leader of this hierarchy called the Catholic Church, is he the problem, or is it the systemic nature of this patriarchy? Ironically, he, at least in the translation that I read in English, referred to the church as she. And yet, of course, he's made no acknowledgement that the church has not and is not treating women equally. Women can't be priests or cardinals or archbishops or even popes. I mean, if he really wanted to really change the culture, he would do that. And he would address the idea that maybe this celibacy thing is not working out. Maybe we should consider letting priests get married. maybe even having gay priests. But no, he's just sticking with the traditions of the church, very slow to acknowledge it. And I see it as not his failure, because he's probably done more change than most popes have, but that the system of hierarchy, that this patriarchy, and it's founded, of course, on a religion that is monotheistic, that has one God at the top of the pyramid, then has a Jesus and a Holy Ghost, and we throw in a Virgin Mother Mary. We have some trinity of power. We have the Pope, we have the cardinals, we have archbishops, we have bishops. It's a very strong hierarchy. And as I see in the secular world, hierarchies are an inherent problem for what we're now facing as a civilization, the extinction of life on our planet, and the near-term extinction of human beings is at stake here. And the church is certainly not going to be a place where we look for change. And it's very disappointing to me, because I actually saw Pope Francis is the one leader on an international stage who would call out capitalism as a root cause of the environmental degradation that includes climate change. And he squandered that. And now the parents of victims of the abuse are disenchanted with the church. They're no longer going to look to the church for solving this problem. They're going to go to the civil authorities, the attorney generals in states, and rightfully so, because the church can't be counted on to really ferret out these problems that it describes quite eloquently, but using words to only talk about this tools of the devil and the evil and all that nonsense, and calling for kind of a self-discipline of priests, etc. That's not going to work. In this hierarchy, he's at the top. He's got to make the call. He could have taken some bold action here, and he didn't. And then we chastise CEOs of oil companies and other corporations for not doing the same thing. I think they're all victims of this hierarchy. So patriarchy is a problem, but it's part of a bigger problem of hierarchy. And I think that having women CEOs and maybe having a woman pope ultimately isn't the answer. It's the dismantling of the power structure where the wealth and the power goes to Vatican City from around the world. It's taken from the poor and it's giving to the institution. So I need to not be too disappointed in the Pope, because I actually believe that it can be expected, it can be predicted. Hierarchy is the problem.